Hello, everybody. I know that we're just all jumping on. I think I had a technical issue here. I don't know why. I think this link was being used potentially for another training. So everyone's jumping on now and we will start in 1 or 2 minutes. I'm just going to put my contact information in the chat in case anybody has any questions after today's session and they want to reach out to me.
I had received a hyperlink with 2 different links. The bottom one worked, the upper one didn't, if that helps anyone.
Okay, interesting. So I'll let the region know.
Yeah.
The region sends out the links, and as an instructor, I just hop on to,
Sure.
the login portion, but Tom,
Yeah.
I will definitely note that and let them know.
Okay, super. Thank you.
Yes. All right, perfect. So as everyone is coming on right now, my name is Jamie Camerata, and I am a team leader in the Andover office here in Massachusetts. Been a team leader about 8 years, was a real estate agent, actively doing what you're all learning and currently doing now in direct sales, working in my business and on my business since 2009. So this should be a really great environment to be able to share the personal stories of all of you on here. And today we are going to be talking about lead generating. So this will be model number 2. This is the lead generating model. Last week or yesterday, I'm not sure if you guys had this yesterday, you guys were talking about the economic model. Just for sake purposes as a review, does anybody want to just maybe briefly summarize the economic model and what you got out of it and what that is? Chatty. I see you, Willard. I have to actually put my glasses on because you guys are so small on my screen. But all right, so as you know, this is an interactive class. I say interactive because, as instructors, we've been teaching this material for a really long time, but I really want you to walk away with something new of value today for your business. It's really important that this is not a snooze fest and that we're just checking a box here. I definitely want involvement, even if you don't put your camera on, even just unmute yourself and definitely have some interaction here because this is for all of you. So that being said, for the economic model, as you know, there is a formula as to how we have our business. And so we have a 30-30-40 formula for a reason. And as a millionaire real estate agent, that's the intention. That is the blueprint as to how to net $1 million as fast as possible by keeping your expenses low and knowing your cost of sales. And so you need to understand appointments, your listings taken, your sold ratios. And the best way to do this is right when you start real estate. A lot of us get into real estate and there's so much to learn. So these valuable tips we don't implement right away. And later on, you're meeting with a coach or your team leader, we're looking at your business and we're like, listen, it looks great that you grossed this, but your expenses are high. Your commissions aren't at 2.5%. You're discounting yourself. And so then we turn it and our net isn't really where we expect it to be. And the whole purpose of today is to learn lead generating models, strategies, systems, and marketing so that you can net $1 million purposely by chunking it down. So when you think about lead generating, what is lead generating to you?
Calling your sphere.
Okay, calling your sphere, phone calls. What else?
Be present.
Talking about real estate.
What was that?
Go ahead, Sandra.
No, I was gonna say, be present on everybody in your sphere. It doesn't matter, be that one person that they think of all the time. when
Okay,
they
so
think about
being
risk.
present. Okay, so yep, not being a secret agent, but being the person that's always there. And how do we do that with lead generating? How are we present with that person?
various ways, I would think, calling, open houses and, you know, sharing information,
Mhm.
doing workshops, just be that, the agent to call for anything.
So in our company, we call them touches.
Yeah,
And we're going to be talking about that, right? You always want to be touching them in some sort of way and style, whether it's exactly what Sandra said, phone call, email, text message, drip campaigns, subliminal marketing, but we always want to be forefront in their mind so that when they're thinking about a real estate agent, boom, they think no longer, they think just Sandra. Okay. What else did we have on there? I know a couple of you were speaking.
I just said talking about real estate overall.
Yep. So lead generating, Saturday night.
Social media, a lot of it.
Oh, Laura, great. Social media.
So
I
yeah, I'm a queen.
love it. Okay.
I implement my dog in it a lot of times.
Okay.
And, you know, I don't actually, because we don't want to always say real estate, because obviously, you know, your friends are like, skip. So I actually just, I do a lot of hiking. I do, I go outside, I do a lot of hiking and stuff like that. And I just say, hey, look, you know, I had a busy day. It was a great day. I put in a bunch of offers, or, you know, I got a listing. I'll implement that. And I'll also implement like pictures of like my day, hiking and stuff like that. So it's not all about real estate. And believe it or not, that's what captures people. And you get more likes on that than you would just posting, hey, look, I just got this house listed. You know, people don't care. They don't.
Yes,
I mean,
so-
they see it. They
Yep.
see it, but it's not like, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Subliminal marketing through relationship building. I
Yeah.
mean,
and
we are
always
gonna-
wear a name badge. Always.
correct. We are going to be talking about
yeah.
contact management and your database and marketing. But sometimes, like Laura is saying, it's not just about picking up the phone and having that cold call, circle prospecting, things like that. That could be lead generating. And that's really what most real estate agents think. They think, oh my God, I have to make phone calls. I mean, someone like Laura, sometimes you actually don't. If you're really great at social media and being present, right? So the online presence versus presence online, you are present online with the consumers and potential clients that you have, then whatever she's posting could be relevant to staying in the know. So when she's posting in her pet group, they're always like, Laura's so valuable. Laura's so knowledgeable. Oh, by the way, Laura does do real estate. Oh my gosh, I bet her characteristics and behavior at which she is teaching and doing online, she must be doing that as a business person and should be a great person to list my house or help me buy a house. Does that make sense? And so that is great, Laura. And so what lead generation looks like for everybody is very different. But it is having purposeful conversations about not being a secret agent, like Laura said, and wearing a badge, and getting away from, I'm in real estate. So how many of you have friends that say, hey, I'm an attorney? I'm like, that's great. How does that help me, buddy? I have to be their marketing person, right, Tom? I have to ask them great questions. Say, Tom, that's so great that you're an attorney. Can we just chunk that down a little bit more and get a little more detailed today in the 30 seconds that we have? What do you do in real estate? Oh, I do estates and wills. Oh, okay. Okay, so I don't want to use you for my divorce. I want to use you for the estate and will afterwards. There's always a lane in which everybody has. And so being intentional and purposeful and letting everyone know that you can help them buy, sell, invest in rent, in sales, in real estate, they need to actually hear it, believe it or not. They really don't know what you do. When you say I'm in real estate, they don't know if you're answering phones. They don't know what you're doing. And then that odd moment, that awkward moment, when your friend or you drive by on your street and you're like, what? So-and-so is listing their property? Why didn't they think of me? Oh, well, because your lead generating models and systems failed you because you weren't reaching out to them, like Sandra mentioned, to be the first person of contact when they're thinking about it. Let's be honest, when we're thinking about something, It really helps when we're hungry and we're thinking about what's for dinner. If I'm driving and I drive by a couple of takeout restaurants, did that help me decide quickly maybe what I'm going to bring home? Yes, because it's subliminal marketing. If I drove by a Chipotle or if I drove by a Boston Chicken and a pizza, I'm like, ooh, you know what? Let me go in here and get this. So it does help. All right, so to achieve big in real estate, you will need a lot of leads. This is the biggest conversation in real estate. Our company teaches you how to fish. Yes, I can provide a pond for you with a bunch of fish that you need to nurture and pre-qualify. And that's awesome. It's going to cost you. It costs anyone. So our job is to understand all the ways and methods of lead generating, then for you to know your personality and for you to commit to that focus. So example for Laura, she's like, I'm not calling everybody. But Tom might be a guy who's like, I'm actually getting off this call right now and I'm about to call about 40 people in my database. But she might have posted 13 times on social media. I challenge everyone right now, if you're not driving or on your cell phone, if you have an Apple phone, I want you to go to the bottom icon and I want you to hit contacts. When you hit the word contacts, and if you don't know, you can hit the phone icon. If you hit the phone icon at the bottom of yours, you'll see it will say favorites, recent contacts. Hit the word contacts for me, please. And then I want you to swipe up and scroll all the way to the bottom. When you get to the bottom, it's going to give you a number. I want you to unmute yourself and share that number with me.
1821.
Okay, 1,821. Next person.
1197.
Yeah. Okay, what else?
3,039.
Oh, who said that? 3,000.
Me, Kathy.
Kathy, okay. Let's remember Kathy at
2904.
3,000. Peter, how many?
2904.
Ooh, okay, almost 3,000.
8561.
Okay. Mary, unmute yourself, Mary. I think 1,000.
1,394.
Okay, perfect. This is your pond. Is this not your pond? If you're not talking to people in your contact list, why are they in there? But that is the pond of the people that you should start with. And when you go through Ignite and you go through these trainings, how many contacts do they tell you to add to your database per day?
10.
7, 10. 10 is ideal, but 7 to 10, whoever said that used to be, because it used to be 5. And now what's happened? We've increased it 7 to 10 because of the iBuyer and the lead programs and all that. And so it's our job to capture as many leads as we possibly can, but then to do something with those leads. I can't just have, I think mine was 2,000 something. I can't just have them sitting in here. I need to be purposefully creating something in terms of a touch plan, whether it's calls or marketing, to be able to let them know I'm not a secret agent. I can help them buy, sell, invest in real estate. According to the MREA, when you read this, the programs in here, they give you the numbers as to how many people you should have in your database, and then how many results that turn into. And so if you turn to page 186 and 187, and if you have your MREA manual, it's your book, it's also on page 12 and 13. So they're going to talk about the people that you have met versus the people you haven't met. And right now I want to talk about the people that you know, which are your Mets. And so they're telling you it's a 12-to-2 ratio. That for that many people in your database, you should be able to get a lead, buyer lead, listing lead, or a referral. So if I divide my phone contact, this is great math, right? This is easy for everybody. And if I just do the math, that's how much business I should be able to have. But I won't be able to have that business if they're turning to a different real estate agent. If they're searching online, if I don't have a presence, if I'm not staying in contact and I'm not putting them on a touch campaign. So how do we achieve this? So we all need a lead generating plan. And it's not my plan. It's the plan that you are going to commit to. So if I picked Vincent on here and I said, Vincent, I'm going to have you door knock 40 doors a week, and there's 4 weeks in the month. So I want how many doors knocked on? 160. And out of 160, Vincent, I want 2 results. Somebody wants to work with you as a buyer. Somebody wants to list a referral. I don't know, but out of 160 door knocks, maybe half of them open, which is 80, and I want 2 results. If Vincent turns around and says, I'm not door knocking, I don't feel safe, I don't want to, I can't, then I can't give that lead generating plan to Vincent. So you have to do a lead generating plan that fits you and your comfort. So we talked about marketing, and Laura said she's the queen of social media. That is true. In our company, we have an amazing platform right now, Command. In the Command platform, you should be utilizing the Facebook and the Instagram area of running leads and staying in touch with people if you do social media marketing. If you're on here and you said, I can't even turn my phone on, I struggle with a QR code, social media is not my thing, that's okay. But maybe you like to send note cards once a week. Maybe you like to actually pick up the phone and call people. You like to take a walk around in your neighborhood and see the same people every day. If that's your lead generating source, it's up to you to be having purposeful and intentional conversations and making them aware that you can help them do this. Oftentimes we get caught up in having conversations and we never tell them what we do. Is this true? Grocery store, walking around, family. How many of you got together for the long Easter break or the Passover break? Did anybody remind anybody? Any conversations? Hey, don't forget, I can help invest, buy, sell, rent. Who do you know that's looking this year? I have business goals and I need to achieve them. And this isn't to put you on the spot, but think who didn't? Maybe you were being purposeful at that time on being with family, and it wasn't about business because there is a time and place. We're also going to be talking about prospecting. So with prospecting for lead generating, that would be phone calls, social events, neighborhood nurtures that are within the Command platform that you could set people up on, that they get an email once a week to say, this is what's happening in your neighborhood. Everyone is nosy. Everybody wants to know. How many of you got your real estate license and when you were able to go into the MLS, you wanted to explore and look up what people were purchasing their house for? How much they had left on their mortgage? Anything. Okay, that's because that's our curious nature. And so because of that, why wouldn't everybody want to be in your database to go on a neighborhood nurture? Where are the people on your street? Now's the time to pick your neighbors, Mr. and Mrs. Jones. If I put you on my email, you're going to get an email once a week that tells you the activity, the moving parts of what's happening in our neighborhood. Whether I ideally have the listing and my company has the listing or not, it's going to say that this is available. This was sold. This is under agreement. And it gives you the live time and date as to the amount. So when you're curious and you want an equity report, or also known as a CMA, an equity report, is it not? A comparative market analysis. Do most people have equity in their home right now? Yes. They'll understand, in my opinion, an equity report. Do you want your free equity report? This is how much money you have in your house. This is what today's value would be if we got the right buyer who's able and willing to purchase your property based on the value in the market stats and reports. And so you might think that it's this amount, 200, because you only have 200 left on your mortgage, but really we could sell this baby at 800. And so really their equity actually moved up. So let me go to the next page here. All right. All right, so with prospecting, the key is to always be active versus reactive. Why do we want to be active versus reactive with prospecting in a market like it is today?
Because it's planned, you can plan it.
And
If you're
It's-
reactive, it's too late in this market.
Because
too
we
late.
are low on inventory.
say, Christine, not enough inventory?
Yeah, or we don't have enough inventory. You want to fill in what is needed, right? Because the high demand on buying.
Yeah. Think about when you plan for a party, right? When you plan for a party and you make appetizers and we know how many people are coming and we put the effort into it, we usually have enough food and drinks, usually too much. Okay. Now, how many of you have been to an event where you're like, hey guys, come on over. No, I know it's last minute at 10 o'clock or wherever. Yeah, no, come over. We got stuff. And you get to your house and you're going through the cabinets and you're like, what do we got? What can we make? What is there? And then you have to think and you have to react in a situation instead of respond. In a market like this, Gary talks about that we are in a recession. And a lot of people don't see it. They don't see it because real estate agents actually made 30 to 40% more in money the last 2 years doing the same activities that they have always done. And not by changing anything that they've done because the value was there. But now these buyers bought properties that were overpriced at a low mortgage rate. But then what happened in our economy? Inflation, right? How much is gas? If somebody bought a house with gas to heat it, that's an extra expense that it used to cost, say, for a 5,000 square foot home, 900 every couple of months. That just changed. It wasn't $369. It went all the way up to almost $7, $8 for gas to heat the house. And that will drive the buyer not to be able to afford a cost of living. So with lead generating, you have to be active. And if you wait for the shift to get back into the activities, then what's going to happen? You're going to be weeded out. You're not going to have any business. So the lag time of leads is too long and your business will decline is what's in the book. Page 138. You have, why did I say page 138? That's not what I meant. I meant figure 39 on page 189. We talk about the 4 laws of lead generating. Build a database, feed it every day, communicate with it in a systematic way, so that's your plan, and service all the leads that come your way. But you have to strategize. Building a database, adding 10 people. If you have not utilized the command platform and entered all of the numbers that you share with me on your phone, why haven't you done that yet? And if it's because, oh, I haven't learned how to enter the contact, get onto YouTube and watch the 5-minute video, how to enter a contact. Well, after I enter them, I don't know what to do. Get back on YouTube and watch the 5-minute video that says, after you add a contact, what should I do? But we should be getting everyone's email. We already have their phone number and they already like and trust you if they're in your contact list. Yes? So those are the people we start with. Now, how many of you would rather call people that they don't know than to call the people that they do know in their phone? It's a trick question. It's a trick question. So this is why a lot of you avoid that pain and pleasure. I want to talk to everybody in my database. Get your pen, get your pencil ready, write these 2 words on a piece of paper. Help and support. When I am calling somebody and I say, ring, ring, hi, Bill, it's Jamie. How are you? I'm good. Listen, do you have a minute? Sure. Okay. Recently, I got my real estate license. As you know, I've been in real estate for 15 years. Doesn't matter where you start, okay? But I need your help and support this year. I set some business goals for myself. And as you know, I can help anyone buy, sell, invest, and rent in real estate. So let me ask you, who do you currently know that is looking to buy, sell, invest, and rent? What do they say? Most of the time.
No one.
No one. I don't know. No one. Great. I expected that answer. But I do need your support. Now, the way that your style is for lead generating is your support structure, guys. What I mean by that is, let's take Laura, for example, because she used social media. It would be a huge support that if she called Bill and Bill didn't know anybody today, directly help, the word help, he couldn't help her today because he couldn't give her a lead. But he could support her business because Laura said, hey, listen, Bill, I'm going to send you over a quick little blurb in a text message. If you could copy, paste that and throw that on your Facebook and tag me, that would help support my business this year. And what did she send over? Maybe it's a, hey, if you're looking for real estate needs, buying, selling, investing, and renting, our cousin Laura, my best friend Laura, my neighbor Laura, however he's introducing, however she chooses to be introduced, is a real estate agent, and she's amazing. She, communicates effectively, organized, blah, blah, blah. However Laura's going to write her value in that little copy paste, sends it over to Bill. If Bill is social media, then he just helped her. And when he helped her, if his database on social media is 2,000 people and he tagged Laura, 2 things happen. One, it didn't look like Laura, who was afraid at the beginning, who said, you don't always want to be in people's face saying, I sold, I this, I this. Who did it for her? Somebody else. And they tagged her. They just recognized her. So it did come from somebody else, right? So that would be a way for her to create that lead marketing plan that Gary talks about in the book, because that makes sense for her personality and her style. Now, if there's somebody who's making phone calls, you could follow up with an email, and that phone call could say, hey, listen, Bill, I'm going to send you an email. Would you mind shooting that email off to people that you think could use, anybody in your database that could use buying, selling, helping, renting, whatever your slogan is in real estate? Would you be able to do that for me and just, put me in on the email? I'm going to write it for you. But that would really support my business because, people respect you, I respect you, and I hope that business can come my way. Great. So do you see how lead generating doesn't have to just be hammering the phones as circle prospecting neighborhoods, educating people in the market? Your job is to add what? 10 contacts to your database. Why? Because Gary gives you the formula here. It says if you were to add 1 person to your Met database, each of those 240 working days that you work in your business in 1 year, 8 years later, you'd have enough people in your Met database to create 320,000 annual sales. Now, this is ideal. And yes, that's within 8 years. But if you take the math of 320 annual sales based on your average house today, and you times that by 2.5%, and here at Keller Williams, you minus your cap plus 3, do you think that that would be a good net? I mean, I'll take it. If nobody else wants to do it, I'll take your database. I want it, right? If you look on page 39, it talks about the pre-sale cost for sales generated through marketing versus prospecting to your have and have not met. So those multi-tiered marketing, embedded, a constant contact, Sandra was talking about a little bit, being in the know, being in front of somebody, right? So we always want to be putting them on an email. If you think about it, how many of you get emails from Macy's or from Target or from something that you've purchased, or Element Spa, a salon? Okay. And they're so consistent about it, and we don't open them. Bonnie's on here. Bonnie probably gets the Element Spa, and it's like, I don't even read it because I know they're just telling me what their availability for the day. But guess what, Bonnie? On that day where I was outside planting and landscaping and doing all that fun stuff that I was doing to make sure those basil plants came up nice, and it's a Tuesday morning, and that came across my platform of my email, I might want to open it because my back's hurting, and I might call them, and now they got me in as a client. And that was subliminal. Why? Because they stayed consistent. So utilizing the marketing and the smart plans that we have in our database of our CRM is important. Now, if you're not going to use the social media marketing, that's fine. That means you need to go old school. You're going to put some stamps on some envelopes, and maybe you're handwriting some notes, or maybe you're sending them information. But nonetheless, if I'm getting something in the mail once a quarter, if I'm receiving an email every other week about my neighborhood, if I'm getting a phone call once a quarter, if I've created a lead generating plan, then that person, if they respect me, like, and know me, and they are in the numbers that you just described here, you should have tons of business. Then go back to the economic model once you understand this business, by the way, and do the 30, 30, 40, and make sure that your cost of sales are at a certain amount and that you're not overspending on all this stuff, so that you're netting money versus grossing money. Okay. On page 189, it talks about the cost of the lead generating programs of the met and the haven't met. Every 50 people in your have not met database marketed to 12 times a year, so 12 direct mailers, equals 1 sale. 1 sale. So 50 people in your database that you have never met before, or maybe you've met once, maybe through an open house, or you just took them from Facebook and threw them into your database and lead management system. If you marketed them once a month, 12 times, direct mail, it's telling you should pick up 1 sale. It's a chart, guys. It's no different than the GPS of the 135 that we have here at Keller Williams. How many of you are familiar with that? Okay. If you're not, at some point, definitely just watch a little video on either GPS or 135. Goals, priorities, strategies. What's your one goal this year? I want to sell 12 homes. Great. Priorities. What are 3 key priorities you need to do to sell those 12 homes? Open houses, listings, and maybe marketing, social media marketing. Great. If those are your 3 priorities, what are 5 strategies that you're going to do in each of the priorities? This is no different. You're just chunking it down and making a plan for lead generating to show, hey, if I just did this, I should have this many. And if I just door knocked on these many doors per week, per month, per quarter, this is the results that I should attain. And if I just put them on a marketing or a social media marketing, or I posted this, you got to get intentional. To go back to what Laura said, that's great. That's great that she's taking her pet to the pet park and letting everybody know, hey, it's, whatever it is. But if she's very purposeful about it, then she should be strategizing, putting personal posts and maybe something of business that fits her personality, so that she's picking up business through the one thing that she feels as though that she's great at, which is the social media marketing. You got to ask for the business, right? Always be asking, always be closing. You can't be that secret agent. So then it says restated 600 touches. So 50 of the people in your haven't met database times 12 would equal 1 sale. So 600 touches at the 0.5 average cost of a touch is 300 per sale. Now this starts to get into dollars and cents. Some people I've already lost. They're like, what's 0.5? What did she just say? And why did I just spend $300? Why? I have no money. I'm looking to make money before I spend the 300. I get it. I get it. This is free money. This is your free money, by the way. And when this missed opportunity comes, I want you to understand that if your average price is a $500,000 home and you're in a 70-30 split at your company, 80-20, you're going to make a little bit more, and you haven't capped yet, and we're taking 30% and we're taking 6%, you're making $8,000 on a $500,000 transaction. And that's basic. So if I'm making $8,000 on one, and it's cost me $2,000 over a year with all my dues and my fees and my made up fees and my KW fee and my board dues and blah, 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 I need one to cover my sales. Then I start making what? A return of investment. Great. So I need you to sell 2 homes. And the only way we're going to be able to do that is starting with who you know. If you want to start with who you don't know, here's the challenge. Go find somebody's listing, make phone calls around the neighborhood. Please don't say that you're Jamie Camerata who listed 123 Main Street if you're not Jamie Camerata. However, if Tom has a listing and I don't care about the company, my job is I'm just trying to educate everybody that, hey, Tom, this is Jamie Camerata from Keller Williams in Andover. How are you? I want to let you know that your neighbor, Miss Bonnie and her husband, put their home on the market last week, and it looks like it's going for $449.9. And now's a great time to pick a buyer to live in your neighborhood. So Tom, let me ask you, who do you know that's looking to buy in your neighborhood? Personal, informative, never met Tom. I don't know anybody. Well, Tom, if you don't know anybody, are you looking to move today? I don't want to move. There's nowhere to go. This market's crazy. I'm not looking to move. Well, Tom, let me ask you, when you are ready to move, do you think it would be useful to have a little bit of knowledge about your neighborhood in the activity and who's selling and who's buying? Yeah, great. I'd love to put you on my neighborhood campaign. I can send it weekly or bi-weekly. It's interactive. You get to see. You get to be the nosy neighbor. You get to see really what Bonnie and her husband really sold that property for. How does that sound? Great. What's your email? Now be purposeful, Gary says, on direct campaigns 12, 33 touches. There are smart plans already in your command platform here at Keller Williams that are already built. Don't be that person who's trying to change it. Don't change it. If there is a seasonal plan that does happy 4th of July, turn back your clock, I know that there is a smart plan on this. Don't change it. Just send it out. Because something sent out is better than the, I'm going to actually change it because I want my logo to be a little different. And I kind of wanted to make the background blue. Snooze fest. You made it blue, but somebody else picked up the lead because they ended up buying a property or selling a property. Okay. All right. Any questions yet?
Do you worry about people put you on a spam?
Okay,
If you
so
send
legally,
too often.
I mean, legally, they have an unsubscribe button already within our command platform. So when somebody unsubscribes, you legally have to unsubscribe them. Am I worried about that? No. If a bride worries about rain on her wedding day, what happens? This baby's gonna rain. Don't think about the negative and attract the negative.
No,
Right.
that's why I wonder if what is the time, the frequency to send is much better than like every little small occasion I send something to bother people, because I think you need to know the recipient, how they read the email or the habit of it, right? So,
So that's why I think when you make a lead plan,
mhm.
you want to do what's right to reflect your business, but you want it to be purposeful. Like, I don't want you to just start text messages, phone calls, this, blah, 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 whatever I can do, because that might turn somebody off. However, it might not turn somebody off, and it might turn them on, and they might actually use you. See, we can't think for other people. That's when we get in trouble, when we start doing that. So I would create the plan like Gary's suggesting, 12 marketing. He said 12 direct marketing. That's once a month. Is that a newsletter that has purpose and intent? Maybe. What happened to those days where you could find everything in a magazine because we didn't have COVID, and there was information about the Gloucester Festival or the sheep shearing or the fireworks, and there was information to bring your family to like the slushy fest or whatever was happening in your town? Be that person. Be the knowledgeable person in your area and send out maybe a monthly little campaign smart plan that gives them information and purpose. The phone calls, information and purpose. You could call for an equity report. You could call to let them know somebody just sold something, listed something. You could let them know that you're having a buyer seminar. You're having a listing seminar. Sir, I've noticed that you have lived in that property for 20 years. My, have times changed. Do you know that with purchase and sales, we don't even print that 90-page document anymore? Everything's electronic. There's so many things that have changed. And so we are running a seller seminar to teach sellers who haven't moved from their properties in over 10 years, all the new things to consider when you are ready to list your property, kind of with me, but we don't have to say that. It's subliminal, or say it, okay? Be purposeful, Christine, about how you're going to set this up through either phone calls, social media marketing, newsletters, emails, phone calls. Make a list. And then when you've made your list, that's when I think you can really bring in the MREA, thinking about Friday, the MREA, and look at the numbers and see, okay, according to Gary, on my non-Mets, I need this many people to net this eventually someday. So my goal is to keep adding to my database on people I know and people I don't know. We also are going to shift the conversation for the last 20 minutes here on pages 191 and 192. And we're going to talk about focus on the listing. Why do we want to focus on the listings?
Because right now is the seller's market.
It is a seller's market. What do
And-
listings bring?
Bring
Buyers.
incomes.
Offers and buyers, baby. Offers and buyers. It's like owning a car dealership. Are you kidding? Somebody didn't have to buy the car dealership. People who come in this day and age to a car dealership are buying today. Are they not? Where have they found all their information? Online. Online. I mean, I'm looking at the screen here. All of us have potentially rented, bought, leased a car. The last place that I want to be is at a car dealership. I'm only going there if I have to buy a car. A buyer goes for two reasons. They really want to buy a property. They've been pre-qualified, pre-approved, or they're potentially looking because they just got married and they're excited, but it's a warm lead. So someone's going to write an offer and I'm going to do my job and I'm going to sell the property.
Don't
But
forget
I'm also going to collect some information. Who is that?
Sandra, don't forget the ones that show up to check it out to see what it looks like compared to their own. So that's a future listing.
1000%. So Sandra, in my style of listings and focusing on the listings, I personally would use what's called the cold directory. So if your office doesn't have it, it's like $500 a year, but some offices have it. The cold directory already scrubs the do not call. It has the phone numbers of people on the street. And I personally invite the neighbors to their own neighborhood open house. Now's the time to pick your buyer, pick your neighbor. And those people I want to put into my database with a hashtag of something different. So when we're tagging in command, what you're saying, Sandra, I want to put them as, you know, resident of Berkeley Street. So they're not ready yet, but what am I going to send them? Maybe my yearly equity report. Maybe get them on the neighborhood nurture. Yep. And so that's a great one. So listings are the name of the game. In this type of market, a lot of people who work with buyers and they're buyer heavy, their business is going to go down by 30% this year. Why? Because they can't get their offer accepted because there's not enough inventory and something has to shift. You know, Gary, I had the pleasure of being with all last week for leadership, and he doesn't get political, but he does talk about the economy. Something has to shift. He says shift or get off the pot. He made a t-shirt. There's a reason. Someone has to shift in order for us to get inventory. Something has to move. The rates have to move. Inventory has to move. So if you're buyer heavy, you're going to be in less production. You're going to feel it hit your wallets next year because you're doing less business. Rates are going up. They're over 5. They're not over 16 where they were back in 1989 and stuff. I mean, we're at 5. And people are like, oh my God, it's a 5.
Jamie, so I've lost probably 3 buyers because of the interest rates, because what's happening now is, let's say they're shooting for a house that's worth 400 or 500 or whatever. So now that their payments are going to be more and they can't compete. Like I try to get them to look at homes that are at least, you know, 100 or maybe $75,000 under their mark for pre-approval, because we want to be able to compete and throw that extra money up there. You know, because it's obviously highest and best, right?
Yep.
But I lost some of them because now they can't afford the payments and they can't afford to go up that high. It really stinks. It's so sad, to be honest.
And that's why Gary is saying there's going to be a shift. There is going to be a shift. What was I gonna say? Not inflammation. Gosh, I can't even think of my words right now. But when the shift happens, there are going to be a lot of opportunities potentially for pre-sale, foreclosures, short sales, not the way that we had in 2009. But there will be that ability, unfortunately, which is sad, Laura, for some people to come in at a lower cost price of a home, even if the interest rate is high. It's just that right now it's stuck. And talk to your market centers about putting together a panel on the people that are closing business and are working with buyers. Maybe there's a strategy in how they're putting their contingency language, what they're doing, how they're presenting their package. You know, strategize and mastermind with creative ideas as to that. But in the book on page 191, they talk about 2 focus areas of listings: economic advantage and the lead generating advantage. The economic advantage, the seller's listing as cost of sale are less expensive to obtain than buyer listing and sales. At a cost of sale amount around 100,000 versus 600,000 for the same volume of buyer sales. The MREA agent realizes a $500,000 cost sales savings. With a lead generating advantage, property marketing sellers listings not only begs for 2 for 1, 1 seller, 1 buyer, but also for more listings with the seller. Until a way is invented to affect marketing buyers to sellers will contact us. Marketing in the seller has a huge leverage advantage for the real estate agent. So again, whether you're marketing door knocking, circle prospecting, phone calls, social media, buying Facebook ads and leads. Our job is to get in a business, to get their phone number to their email. And then when we have them, put them into 2 categories, Mets and have not Mets, and formulate a lead generating formula on how we are going to stay in touch with both of these categories. Others have done it. I know it's hard to believe sometimes, like sometimes in a book, we're like, oh, that seems so easy. If you just like do that. There are people that just do that. They move to a new town. They don't know anybody in town and they commit. Now, Sandra talked about consistency. You have to stay consistent in something, whether it's marketing, whether it's direct mailing 12 times a year. Don't change it. Don't be, all real estate agents have ADD to a small degree. And we're always like, ooh, what are they doing? What are they doing? Okay, do what you do best. Stay focused on something that works for you. If you are part of the gardening club, work that gardening club. Let that gardening club know that you are the person that is the most knowledgeable in the market, that will take care of their clients, that effectively communicates, is authentic, reliable, trustworthy, loyal. Think of me when talking to your friends and family. I want to be part of the book of business that you might have. What questions do we have about some of these things for like the next 10 minutes in terms of interaction, questions, ideas?
I think with the interest rates going up, I've seen cash buyers feel a lot more confident that their dollars are even stronger because a number of properties are coming back on market. They probably didn't get through lenders, and so if there's cash buyers out there, you can still close. They may start diminishing, but they're out there. And on the commercial side, there's a number of people working with 1031s, and that's like cash in most cases as well.
Yeah, cash is king. Cash is king. We're not worrying about an appraisal. We're not worrying about overbidding because we already have the cash. If I'm going to pay 1.3 and I said I'm going to pay 1.3, I don't need to get that from my bank. Could I change my mind somewhere at that point, even though I showed a proof of funds that I have it? Yes. But he is right. Tom is right. The less distraction of screwing up the transaction, I mean, cash is king right now. So it is showing the value amount. And same with commercial. For those of you who don't know what a 1031 exchange is, that is when you have a property that is a commercial property, you sell it, and to avoid paying taxes on it, if you put it into another property, then there is a better tax forgiveness for that. And a lot of these people want to do that. They want to sell a few of their 4 families, 3 families, commercial property, car wash, whatever it is. And then they want to buy stuff, flip it. Gary said, buy land. Everyone laughed, but Gary at Family Reunion said, buy land, build it, and that will be the most valuable property because it hasn't depreciated. It will hold true to its cost. You'll definitely sell it because there's no inventory. But those people will see the value when they go to sell it versus the people that are overbuying now, that value might be diminished.
I wanted to share something that it goes a little bit with what I was saying in the beginning, and also these buyers that are getting scared of the interest rates not being 2 anymore, they're 5.
Yep.
I've had this conversation a couple of times with some buyers. They're like, oh, I don't know if now it's time to buy because the interest rates going up. I said, until it gets to like 9 or 10, I'm not worried about it. Because, we were at 12 and 15 not long ago. And
Yep.
then going back to being on the, in the front of everything, it's educating, communicating, and expressing and educating exactly what's going on, because they hear from friends of friends and from the news that may not be interpreting the information correctly, where if you're paying that percentage now, if you wait and it end up being 9, you're paying more money to the bank You're putting your equity, your own big piggy bank money further away from you. And I've had 2 buyers that were like, okay, let's keep going. And it's that part of like just communicating and educating that it's just key.
Yeah, you're gonna pay now, you're gonna pay later.
Yeah.
In the end, we're paying. We're gonna pay. And you're 100% right, Sandra. We will always be in a business where people will always be selling and renting, buying, selling, renting. Just like there'll always be people getting married. Unfortunately, there'll be people getting divorced. There'll be people having babies. This is life. And so you're right. There are people that try to get lower amounts for a more valuable home, but they overpaid for that. And so they're going to be paying way more than they ever have because they're paying longer. And the people before who had higher rates, they might be paying more money. They're paying it off faster, but the equity is there. And so our job really is to educate our consumers, our friends, our family on the facts. And so for those that like social media marketing, that is why I encourage on Monday afternoons with the growth call to take those graphics that they put on the growth call from 2:30 to 3, they already build them for you. And we might laugh, but they make these great ones that say like real estate definition, P&S. People are like, what's a P&S? What is that? Did someone say peanuts? Like, they don't know. They don't know. So putting out those terms, putting out fixed rates, giving them examples. Gary does a great slide. It's my favorite slide. It's in family reunion slides. Ask your team leader about it. But he does this great slide of the cost of sales then versus now. Come on, people. I remember going to the store on my bike to buy bread and milk and I think Marlboro cigarettes for my dad. And I laugh and I was like, Dad, remember when I used to buy you, and he doesn't smoke anymore, but Marlboro cigarettes, and you would give me $3 and I'd always lose the quarter because it was $2.75 and I have to drive the bike and I'd have no pockets because I'm a girl, and I would drive the bike home and they would sell me the cigarettes because my dad worked in the police department and they knew who I was. And my father said, do you know how much a pack of cigarettes are today? And I was like, probably like $6. He's like, no, it's like 12. And I'm like, no way. And so the cost of milk, the cost of things, if you do that comparison, that's a great one for both sellers and buyers. That slide to show them and say, listen, I know that you think your house is worth this, but your house is worth this according to the market. And check this out, the cost of living, it shows you the worth. It shows you what home averages were in 1990 versus 2000 versus now. And so somebody else is educating them versus taking us out of it so that we're the know-it-alls, so they can actually see live evidence of like what the market is dictating. And it softens the conversation for them to be like, all right, you're right, you're right. No, that was a little aggressive. I thought my house was worth 800. It's really 600. I'm just mad that I put in a $200,000 pool during COVID. That was a choice, right? So, all right, well, my contact information is on the right side of the screen. You will be doing the budget model, which is very exciting this week as your next one. Schedule your lead generating plan. I definitely encourage you just to jot down on a piece of paper, how are you going to lead generate it and what does it look like? And how are you going to organize and systemize it for your Mets and non-Mets and marketing versus phone calls, and just commit to it. Okay. So if there's no questions, have a great rest of the afternoon. Thank you for letting me be your guest speaker today. And we'll see you guys back tomorrow.
Thank you, Jane.
Thank you.
Bye,
You're very
everybody.
welcome.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.